Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Guys, in this video we are going to be making a shirr dress with puff sleeve, and we'll be using this material to make this. So guys, I folded my fabric into two using my hip measurement plus 10 inches extra. So this is the 10 inches extra, and this is my hip measurement divided by 4. Okay, so we are going to divide our measurement by 4 and add additional 10 inches to that. So the first thing I want to do is to draw the shoulder line so that I will use that point to guide other measurements. So placing my measuring tape on that line by 5 inches or 4 inches, you know it's going to be an off shoulder dress. I marked my bust measurement, which is 8 inches, my waist 16 inches from my shoulder line, and then the full length I want. So because it's an off shoulder dress, you place your measuring tape on 4 inches or 5 inches on the shoulder line. Okay, and after marking all of these measurements, I'm going to connect them into a straight line. You know, on the after I marked the full length, I also added 1 inch for hemming allowance. Okay, so I'm just going to connect the hemming allowance into a straight line as well. So I forgot to mark the bust line, so I'm just marking it like this. I'm just connecting it with my ruler, just like this. So here we have the shoulder line, the bust line, waistline, hip line, and then the full length of the dress. So we are going to mark our shoulder measurement divided by 4, which is 7 inches. I mean by 2, which is 7 inches. And then I'm going to add about 6 inches to that. Okay, and the bust line, my bust measurement divided by 4, and I added 8 inches to that because I will still use seam allowance from that 8 inches. So on my waistline, I'm marking my waist measurement divided by 4, and then I'm also marking around 8 inches, I mean 10 inches extra. And on my hip line, I'm marking my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 10 inches extra as well. So this 10 inches is inclusive of my seam allowance. Okay, so I took the entire measurement I have on my hip line, and I'm going to mark it on the full length of the dress, just like this. And I'm going to remove 2 inches from that measurement on the hemline, and using my straight ruler, I'm going to connect from the hemline down to the hip line, and then from the hip line down to the waistline and down to the bust line. Okay, sorry it's not showing, but I'm going to use a better chalk to mark this out so you see. So this is what we have. I think this is clearer now. So now I will just go ahead and cut out my pattern. Okay, so you're going to mark your exact measurement just the way I have marked mine here. So after marking that, this is what I have, and I'm going to use this to cut out the back panel because the front and the back panels are going to be exactly the same. So I just folded it the way it was, folded my back panel, placed it on it, and then I just cut it out like this. So here I have my front and the back panel. So for the sleeve, you just measure around your arm, and then whatever you get, you mark that and add around 6 inches extra to that, between 5 to 6 inches extra to that. So for the length of the sleeve, I want it to be 4 inches, but where here I have around 9 inches. So I will just fold it into two, cut it into two, one 4.5 inch for one and 4.5 inch for the other. So these are the two sleeves I will be using. So you can see I have the two sleeves cut out. Okay, this is going to be going around my arm, right? This is not going to be the one we use for the puff. This is the one that will go around the arm. Okay, and I'm also going to use an elastic thread to gather this. Okay, so now it's time for us to stitch, and I'm using my normal thread to just hem the shoulder part, that is the upper part of the dress first. So I'll just use my normal thread to stitch on it by folding it into two, and then I'm going to stitch until I get to the end. So I'm going to do this for both the front and the back panel. Okay, so after doing that, I have the dress, the upper part done. So this is my elastic thread I'm going to use for this, and I and drill this into my bobbin. Okay, so I just use my hands and rolled the elastic thread into the bobbin, and I'm just placing the bobbin in the bobbin case, and I'm going to put it inside my machine. Okay, so your elastic thread goes inside your bobbin, and your normal thread goes through your machine to your needle. Okay, I hope this is clear, because a lot of people ask me, where does the bobbin go to, where does the elastic thread go to, and so the elastic thread is the one that goes into your machine, that is under. Okay, so after that, I just start stitching my fabric, and we are trying to share this fabric now to make it smoky and to make it gather. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to keep stitching and until I get to the last part. So just keep sewing. You might be wondering the distance you're supposed to leave between the first stitch and the next one. You can use half an inch in between your stitches, or if you don't have a lot of time, you can use 1 inch. So it totally depends on you. So you can see what I have after making some few stitches on mine. This is what I have. Okay, so I'm going to continue stitching, and after sewing a lot, I have this, and we are done stitching. This took longer than this, but of course I can't show you everything. It's just to show you how to do it. So this is what it looks like from the inside, and from the outside, this is what it looks like as well. So we are done stitching on the fabric. You can see the fabric looks smaller than it was before. So eventually I did this for the front and the back panels. So here we have our patterns. If you follow through, this is what you should have for yours as well. So for the sleeve, this is what I have. I went ahead to share it, and I did not hem it because we are going to be adding the gathered part to the lower part of the sleeve. Okay, so now I'm going to attach the sleeve on the armhole area, and then I'm going to pin it because I'll take it to the sewing machine to stitch together. Okay, so I'm just going to I'm just going to pin it, and also pin it to the other side. So you can see, make sure the right sides is facing each other, both on the front and the back panel. Okay, so once that is done, you should have something like this. Okay, for yours, and I'm going to go ahead and pin the other one. So guys, I ran out of fabric, and I'll be using this to do the gathers. Make sure you have up to 3 yards of fabric if you want to make this share dress. Okay, so I'm going to use this to make the gathers. I'll just make a stitch on it. I'll show you all of that very soon, and I'm going to make a casing for the gathers on the lower part as well. So using the loosest stitch on my machine, I'm making a stitch. You can see it's already gathering gradually. So I'm making a stitch with the loosest stitch, and I'm going to pull one part of the thread. I'm going to just drag it until everything gathers, just the way I'm doing it here. Is the same thing you're going to do for yours. Just gather it. And once that is done, you're just going to take the measurements you have around the gathers to be sure it matches the measurement you have on your armhole. Yes, on the sleeve. So this part, you are going to take the measurement to see that it matches the measurement of the gathers. Once you are certain everything is the same, you're going to place it right sides facing, just the way I'm doing it here. And then you're going to make sure you spread your gathers evenly. Okay, let not and don't allow one side to be fuller than the other. So just the way I'm doing here, you're going to spread your gathers properly, and then stitch the two parts together. Put the gathered sleeve and the shirred sleeve together, okay, by stitching on the seam allowance area. Okay, so that's just what I'm doing here. So guys, after doing that, I'm going to make a casing on the lower part. That's where the strap is going to pass through to make the lower part gather and to make the sleeve puff. Okay, so guys, I would say that you should use the same Ankara fabric, which is will make this more stable and more sturdy. Okay, so that when you wear it, the puff will show and not this fabric. I'm just using this to show you because I ran out of fabric. So after doing that, I'm going to make the strap that will go through the casing I made on the lower part of the flay. Okay, so this strap you're seeing folded into is about 1 inch. So this totally depends on how you want it, and the length is also dependent on your preference. Okay, so after stitching that, I just trim off the excesses. Now I have two. I'm going to show you how I turn this in. So using my safety pin, I just pinned the edge of the fabric, and then I'm going to push my safety pin through down to the open side of the strap. So I'm just going to keep pushing until the safety pin comes out on the other side, and I just use it to turn it. So you see, this is what I have. I'm going to do the same for the other one. So I have my fabrics turned, my straps turned inside out. Okay, so that's basically how you do that. So after that, I'm going to grab the sleeve while it's open. I'm going to fold it into two to get the midpoint, and once I have gotten the midpoint, I'm going to make a small opening on that midpoint just on one side of the fabric. So I have an opening there. The next thing I will do is to also take my safety pin to the strap, and then pass it through the opening I made on the lower part of the sleeve. Okay, so that casing we made, we are just adding the strap to it. And the reason we made that opening in the middle is because that is where the strap is going to be coming out from, in the middle, so that by the time we notch them together, I mean not the two straps together, it will come out looking very beautiful. Okay, so now I'm bringing out the strap in the middle of the sleeve. Okay, so now I'm going to pin this the strap to the sleeve like this, so it doesn't get lost inside the sleeve. So I do that for this, and I'm going to also do it for the other side. So you can see that the puff sleeve is gradually coming together. Like I said before, it's better you use your Ankara fabric to do the sleeve as well, so that it will look puffy. The puff will really show when you do it. This fabric I'm using doesn't really have stability. It's just a silk fabric, and I just wanted to use it to show you. So yeah, I have put in the first one, and the second one is also intact now. So now we have the strap inside the sleeve. The next thing I want to do is to flip the fabric to the wrong side. Okay, and I'm going to stitch the sleeves opening. Do you get? I'm going to stitch the sleeve together, and then I'm going to take it right from there down to the side of the dress. Okay, so basically I'm just closing the sleeve. Okay, the stitch on the sleeve, I'm just closing it, and then I'm going to take it down through the armhole and straight to the hem of the dress. So you might also want to cut down to increase your armhole before you stitch this, so that it won't be too tight on your armhole side. Okay, so after stitching to the hem, you're going to do the same thing on your other sleeve. Okay, on the other side of the sleeve, you do the exact same thing, and you can see our sleeve is looking very beautiful. You can see the puff, you can see the gathers, and you can just go ahead and knot this to your preference. Okay, and push it inside so that only the strap will be showing. So basically, this is how to make a shirr dress. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, do not forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Okay, and also share this video with your friends. Until I come your way again next time. Bye.